What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Okay, so here we go with some more Doge goodness right now. Check this out, y'all. Judge temporarily blocks Doge from accessing sensitive information at agencies. You gotta love this. You gotta love this narrative from the corporate press and the mainstream news that, oh, Doge is accessing your information. Well, that's not really the case, is it? No, we've learned time and time again that, all this information is in the computer systems, right? And if they're going to go into these computer systems to figure out how to update the software, blah, 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 find the fraud, the waste, and the abuse, they have to access these computer systems. Well, your information is in there. So what they do with that, instead of actually telling you what Doge is attempting to do, what they say is, oh, they were stopped from accessing your information, all in a bid to make what Doge is doing look bad. But they're not going into these systems, once again, to access your information. No, they're going in to find waste, fraud, and abuse. It's like, hang on, you see all these injunctions and all these court cases going on with everything that Doge is doing. And it's like, kind of makes you sit back and think, what are these people trying to hide? Why are they getting out in front of this and lying to everybody saying, oh, you don't want some random Gen Z to access your personal data, do you? Well, that would make you take it back right quick and be like, well, of course not. But hang on just a second. These are all government employees, aren't they? Yes, they are. And these agencies also employ federal workers, the same government employees. So what's the difference, whether it's Doge or it's the Social Security Administration, the Treasury Department? It's still government employees accessing your data. It's all the same, folks. But you see how they twist all this around and get you all worked up to where you're like, I hate Elon Musk. And all this violence going on with the Tesla protests, we'll call them protests, but it's really terrorist threats because they're firebombing Teslas, the dealerships, they're shooting them up. They're actually going after individuals driving around in their Teslas just out in the wild. And they are threatening these people, threatening them with violence and all kinds of nonsense, damaging vehicles. It's terrorism. This is what the left is. And they always get out in front of that and say, well, the right is more extreme, the far right. They are way more dangerous and violent than the left. That's absolutely not true. The summer of 2020 can prove this. What is going on now can prove this. Last summer, with all the college campus protests, prove this time and time and time again. They don't ever tell you that stuff. No, they just lead you down a path of destruction to where you start believing their nonsense, and then you're living in some dream world where the corporate press always tells the truth and that all Republicans are bad and what Donald Trump is doing is evil. That's just how it happens, y'all. A federal judge on Monday blocked billionaire Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency from accessing people's private data at the Education Department, the Treasury Department, and the Office of Personnel Management. U.S. District Judge Deborah Boardman issued a preliminary injunction in a case filed last month by a coalition of labor unions in federal court in Maryland, led by the American Federation of Teachers. The plaintiffs alleged Trump's administration violated federal privacy laws when it gave Doge access to systems with personal information on tens of millions of Americans without their consent. Now, what that is also failing to tell you is something I mentioned earlier. These employees of, the Education Department, the Treasury Department, and the Office of Personnel Management access your personal data every single day. And they are also federal employees, just like Doge is. This is basically, when you break it down to the bare bolts, this is basically these outside groups, these democratically controlled unions and blah, 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 federal teachers unions and all these other federal employees unions, whatever it may be, these outside groups that are non-governmental bodies that are funded by Democrats are trying to stop the federal government from auditing itself. That is what this all breaks down to. And when you think about it in that manner, doesn't that make it seem absurd? Let me know down in the comments. It's insane if you ask me. Boardman, who was nominated to the federal bench by former President Joe Biden, once again, why do they always mention that? Like, of course this activist judge is going to be nominated by Biden. We don't care that they were nominated by Biden or Obama or Clinton or Trump or anybody. It doesn't matter, but they always put that in there anyway. Sorry for that rant. I just can't stand when they do that. Had previously issued a temporary restraining order. The preliminary injunction offers longer-term relief, blocking doge access as the case plays out. You like how they frame that, huh? The preliminary injunction offers longer-term relief. Oh, is it relief? Is that what it is? Relief from the audit. Relief so we can't find all your malfeasance that you've been conducting in the background with taxpayer dollars. Correct? Because why else are these people spending tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in court fees to stop the government from auditing itself? There must be something to hide. I know that's speculative, but once again, why else would they do it? Give me a good reason, and I'll concede that point. Let me know down in the comments. Which, by the way, smash that like button. I keep forgetting to say that in my videos. Smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here, share this video anywhere and everywhere you can. Join the channel. I've got memberships if you would like to join. I would be greatly appreciative of that. By the way, if you guys could do that, you could be the first one. The judge found the Trump administration likely violated the law. Ooh, what law and how? They don't ever tell you. She said the government failed to adequately explain why Doge needed access to millions of records to perform its job duties. Because they're doing an audit. That's why. And they need to access the computer systems. They're not going to go in there looking at your personal information. Once again. But it's like these people they don't have a brain for their arguments. They don't have logic on their side. So they just lie their way out of these situations. It is crazy, y'all. She also said the Trump administration can still carry out the president's agenda without receiving unfettered access to a trove of personal data on federal employees and people with student loans and government benefits. Oh, so now you're telling us where they're hiding all this information and what they're trying to hide. Oh my goodness, these people are insane, y'all. These people are just blatantly insane. They're hiding something. Why else would they have an anaphylactic type of reaction to this? Oh, they're wanting to access your personal data, knowing damn good and well that that's not why they're getting into the systems. It's absurd. It's the way the systems are set up. To get in there, to look for fraud and abuse, they have to have access to all this stuff. That's where the fraud and abuse is. That includes their income and asset information, social security numbers, birth dates, home addresses, and marital and citizenship status. Citizenship status, huh? That's an interesting to throw in on the court case. Citizenship status. You do know that criminal aliens don't get the same rights under our Constitution. Yeah, they don't all get the same rights that we do. That's right. So that tells you, once again, they're not going in there to find your birth date and your marital status, for crying out loud. They're going in there to, for one, in some cases, update the software, get these people working up to snuff, and in other cases, looking for waste, fraud, and abuse. Like, I just don't see how they have any sort of merits on their arguments here. All they can say is, Oh, Doge is accessing your personal data. You don't want them doing that, right? Personally, I don't care because somebody accesses my personal data all the time. Just saying they have access to my personal data every single day. The actual federal employees, the same federal employees that work for Doge. They trusted the federal government to safeguard their information. The public trust likely has been breached, Boardman wrote in her opinion. Notice how that's, likely has been breached. This is a judge. This is a court case. How about something definitive here? Not, well, they likely did. You can't argue based upon a hypothetical. Like, besides the point. These are also federal employees. So no, they didn't breach anything. The lawsuit accused the Trump administration of handing over sensitive data for reasons beyond its intended use, violating the Privacy Act. Is that so? That's the accusation. But did they do that? I don't think so. Instead of carrying out the functions of the federal student loan program, that's it. So Joe Biden's legacy. They don't want Donald Trump going after Joe Biden's legacy. Now we're getting to the nuts and bolts of this whole situation, y'all. They don't want Donald Trump looking into Joe Biden's student loan forgiveness program. That's what this is all about. And they just brazenly told us that. Tried to hide it somewhat, but it's still a brazen admittance of what they are trying to hide, y'all. Instead of carrying out the functions of the federal student loan program, the lawsuit says Doge has been accessing loan data for purposes of destroying the education department. Yeah, I wouldn't say destroying. I would say dismantling. You could call it destroying, but so what? Once again, folks, Donald Trump plans on dismantling the education department and taking the student loan and shifting that to the Small Business Administration. That's right. So, yes, somebody is going to have to take all that data and transfer it to the SBA so they can handle student loans. I'm just saying, these people are running out of merits quickly. President Donald Trump signed an executive order last week to dismantle the department, saying that student loans will be handled by the Small Business Administration and programs involving students with disabilities will be shifted to the Department of Human and Health Services, or Health and Human Services. Sometimes my dyslexia is on a more macro scale, if you will. His administration says Doge is targeting waste across the federal government by addressing alleged fraud and upgrading technology. What's wrong with that? One of the nation's largest teachers unions, the American Federation of Teachers, says it represents 1.8 million workers in education, healthcare, and government. Also joining the suit were 6 people with sensitive information stored in federal systems, including military veterans who receive federal student loans and other federal benefit payments. Okay, so what? Once again, they don't have a problem with federal employees accessing their data on a day-to-day basis, but they have a problem with these other set of federal employees accessing the system, not necessarily their data, to fix it. Right. That's the argument that we're getting from the corporate press, and we're getting from this lawsuit, I should say. And the corporate press is backing it right up. Because notice there's only been one small little paragraph as to Doge's argument in this case, that one we just read a few minutes ago. The suit was also backed by the National Active and Retired Federal Employees Association and the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers. Once again, like I was saying earlier, this is non-governmental, democratically funded organizations suing the government to stop it from auditing itself. That is exactly what is happening here, folks. That is insane. The injunction, which could be challenged on appeal, is limited to protecting the personal information of the individual plaintiffs and members of the groups. No matter how important or urgent the president's doge agenda may be, federal agencies must execute it in accordance with the law, Boardman wrote. That likely did not happen in this case. Once again, ma'am, I don't want a likely. I want you to determine whether they did or not. In a separate Maryland case last week, a judge temporarily blocked Doge from accessing Social Security databases that similarly contain vast amounts of personal information. So what? Like, these people are on and on and on with this. Like, I just don't get it. I mean, I understand what the corporate press is trying to do here. They're trying to turn public sentiment against Doge. This is like I covered the other day with Chuck Schumer actually spilling the beans, saying that all these activists going to Republican districts, showing up to these town halls and railing against these lawmakers about what Doge is doing is all meant to bring down the popularity of Donald Trump, to turn down his approval numbers. This is all a coordinated campaign to make Donald Trump look evil, folks. All of it. Every single bit of it. It's all funded by Democrats and, in a roundabout way, funded by viewers like you. That is right, because we learned from the USAID thing that all these programs that were going out, there was grants going to NGOs that were funneling money back into the Democratic Party. It is absurd. We are finding their source of money. We were always wondering, how did Kamala Harris manage to outspend Donald Trump by 3 times? Yeah. She had $4 billion raised? Do you really think she had that much support? I don't think so. Because the polling showed she had currently has 36% support from just Democrats. 36%. So I wonder where all that money was coming from. Well, come to find out, it was coming from taxpayers. I found out the hard way the other day. I don't know if you guys remember me telling this story or if y'all watched the video or not, but I have been fed up with my union, as a matter of fact, because they don't represent my interests whatsoever, not in the least. So I went to my boss for a couple of reasons. I noticed this thing that showed up on my paycheck that said Poly Action Together. And it was only a couple of bucks a week, but I never asked for any of this. And come to find out, that was part of the contract that the union negotiated. Did not consult with me whatsoever. Haven't talked to a union rep in 9 years. So without my consent, these people took money out of my paycheck to send to a Democratic Political Action Committee, one of these PACs. That is right, folks, without my consent. I was livid, absolutely livid about that. That is what these people do. They don't care about you. The unions are garbage. The idea of the union, that's a good thing. But these nationalized corporations that are unions, that's what they are. They're corporations. They're meant to take your money. I don't buy that. I don't think that they're actually working in the interests of the workers. I don't think that whatsoever. That it just shows by my personal experience. My personal experience with every single union I've ever been a part of. They never represent our interests. They never listen to us and what we say. And they take our money without our consent and send it to democratically aligned political action committees. That really pissed me off. It grinded my gears like nothing else. So I signed a paperwork stopping my dues. I'm not paying these people anymore. I don't pay dues for my union. They want to keep us? Sure, fine, go ahead. I'm not giving you none of my damn money. I will negotiate my own damn contract from now on. And I promise you, I will not negotiate several dollars a week out of my paycheck to go to some democratically aligned political action committee. Yeah, BS. No, I am sorry. So if any of you guys out there are in a union, I would check to make sure that they are not funding things that you don't want them to fund. But once again, this all goes back to parallel economy stuff, right? You don't want to be going to Dunkin' Donuts because they don't align with your moralistic worldview, for crying out loud. McDonald's, most of these large corporations are captured by the left. They're democratic-leaning leftists. And you buying their products, supporting them in any sort of way, is helping Democrats. Vote with your feet. Parallel economy. Go to small business. Buy local. Do things like that. There's this app called the Town Square, or Public Square. I'm sorry. They're not a sponsor, but that's what I would use because it's values with conservatives, right? They stick with conservative companies that hold your values, that aren't going to take your money, smile in your face, and then spend that money to vote against you. Can't stand it, y'all. I really can't. But I think I've rambled on for long enough on this one. I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. Y'all don't forget to smash that like button. And y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.